Epstein killed himself.
Let me make sure I got that right. Hold up. So Epstein's dead, right? Okay. Hold on. Dead? Are we sure he's dead?
Jeffrey Epstein's apparent suicide.
Is he really?
Epstein is dead.
First, if the guy's dead, have to ask why.
Died by suicide overnight in a Manhattan jail cell.
Why would he need to die? You know, this is a wild case. I didn't want to talk about this at first. You know, here with a new Wrinkle on the Brain, we're really more about positive stuff, expansion, questioning. We were doing audio with the, kind of response type of session. It's gonna be a little different because I'm just gonna get straight into what we're not being told, what we don't know, reasons and implications. I'm not saying conspiracy theory, I'm not that guy. It seems that almost like 70% of what Alex Jones was saying was correct, but we kicked them off the internet. Interesting. Anyway, why would he need to die? Okay, so he's a crazy millionaire, we know that. There was some type of trade involved. There was an explanation for where the money accrued from. Now, if we think about it and we just kind of put the basics together, I mean, come on. He has an island. He has a location for trade. So at this point, he has a international / non-international place to conduct business, regardless of what the business is. If we think about basic business law, I mean, he was kind of within his rights to do whatever he wanted because it's his location, his property, he can do whatever he chooses to. But we're talking about kids and trafficking bodies. This is where stuff gets weird. So, with that implication alone, we have to think of the other people that were implicated on the plane. It's not just the Clinton, the Trump option. No, there's more to this, way more to this. In the 2008 case, there was a lot of questions on custody. What was going to be, what was the custody of these children at the times of the trauma? Were parents involved? Was there some type of system to where, maybe the parents got paid, guy picks up kid, takes kid to Epstein, Epstein trains kid, Epstein then sells kid. I'm not sure if there's more there, but again, we don't know the system, the logistics. We don't know the UPS standard, if you will. I'm sorry to implicate UPS. You guys have nothing to do with the Epstein case. UPS will cut that out. I'm sorry. But no, I mean, we don't see the logistical system of how that would really expand to the scope in which we know now, based on the facts, of what this might be. So, another thing I want to bring up with Epstein, it's kind of been avoided by the mass media. I know alternative media locations that we've, pitched and supported before, and also given links for before. They've been very good at covering a lot of these cases, and I'm not going to go too deep into things that they've already knocked out. So if you really want to dive deeper, there's a lot of other locations to go to. I'm actually going to keep it real short today. I'm going to kind of jump straight into the terrible because a lot of them don't, and someone has to. So the individuals that were implicated in the underground investigations, it turns out it's a huge ring. This is a million pages of documents. That's another big reason why you want this guy dead. Because if there's so many pages, there's so many names, the names alone are pretty terrible. I mean, we're talking about Chris Tucker, I do believe Tom Hanks. So there's a couple of huge stars that were possibly implicated in this type of trafficking of children, something where it's not okay. I've heard also in the documents there were Kevin Spacey accounts, and we learned recently that the Kevin Spacey cases were dismissed. So right now, technically, Kevin Spacey's okay, but it's Kevin Spacey. You guys saw American Beauty, man. I mean, come on. I mean, that was a weird moment. He's in the bed having the weird fantasy. The girl, underage girl, he was telling on himself early, maybe. if we think about that movie deeply, the movie American Beauty with Kevin Spacey was a precursor to anything you want to talk about where he may have implicated himself in doing something with a child. He had a movie with him obsessing over a high school girl, okay? Like, it's not much more clear than that. This is not a spoiler alert. That movie's old. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But, again, with the implications for Epstein, there were so many names. I mean, these names get into politics. That's where things get weird. Clinton, yeah, there's a death count, and it's possible that Clinton may have put out a hit. Do we know? We don't know. Do we understand the ties in between states of a previous president? Maybe a previous president, he makes a phone call. Hey, New York guy, I want to make sure that something could have occurred there. So we have to do our we have to put our thinking caps on, because right now we can be played. It's not that we are currently being played. I don't know that. But we are susceptible to being played right now. Now, I'm gonna, again, emphasize that we are talking about possible heads of state of other countries. This would be the prime minister, or ex-prime minister, previous prime minister, I'm sorry, or previous prime minister of the Palestinian state, which we are currently at war with, and obviously, this implication of him being involved with Epstein was before 2007. If you go back into basic knowledge and basic records, we weren't in Palestine at that time. We would have been in Afghanistan. That was the first invasion in the first 2-year stint. Now, after that, there may have been other aggressions, if you will, but if you recall, we were allies with Palestinians, and we did have a group functioning as a quasi-government, if you will. So when you hear politicians that are currently running right now talk about regime change, that's exactly what they meant, what they were stopping, or the names. Okay, so Prince Andrew, that's royal family. We're talking Prince Andrew, the brother who is older than Prince Charles, which is the old nice guy everyone remembers. But you know, let's just be clear here. The person who was married to Princess Diana, who also died in very odd circumstances, has still been implicated multiple times in multiple murders. This is not new. So for Prince Andrew to be implicated, I don't doubt it. Bill Clinton, of course we know. Donald Trump, of course we know. But here's some other weird ones. George Stephanopoulos, Katie Couric, Woody Allen, Ehud Barak, and the Prime Minister Tony Blair. The Ehud Barak, that's the Israeli Prime Minister, by the way, and we have the British Prime Minister Tony Blair. Yo, Tony Blair is crazy, man. He throws these parties. It's wild. There's a lot of crazy debauchery. It's like 1930s craziness. Yo, Tony Blair's doing some weird stuff, all right? But this also gets into naming Boeing. So Boeing, the big company that makes planes right now, that's also in trouble for something about a plane they can't fix or something like that. But they would also be implicated because they hid all of these flight documents. So the whole Boeing industry could literally fall because of this guy, because they had to hide the flight records. Whatever Boeing he owned, they couldn't talk about to the FAA. If the FAA knew or kept their own documents, which we know they did not, based on the findings, based on the millions of pages of documents, actually members of the Secret Service are also going to be implicated here too. So this would mean that the Secret Service turned a blind eye to Clinton and his travels, to being duped multiple times by Clinton, and there's a lot of cases of that. There's a couple books written actually by previous members of the Secret Service that do intel and detail all of the crazy transgressions he had besides Monica Lewinsky. That was actually not the issue. Monica Lewinsky was a throw in the barrel, you know what I'm saying? Because there was way more there, and he had been confirmed of a lot of sexual assaults in Arkansas as a governor before he was ever even a president. So politically, again, I'm not going to bash the guy. He's not here to defend himself. But what I will say is, with the names we have so far, this is very troubling, especially when we talk about your implications of these people that are deeper in politics. We have George J. Mitchell, which is the Democratic Senate leader, former Senate leader from 2004, is implicated here. So that means laws made at that time to possibly protect this man would have been, they should be now null and void. Like any laws that have this guy's name attached to it, like the George J. Mitchell, we probably should review those laws. We probably should look back at, okay, what did George J. Mitchell do while he was in these roles? Because now he could have been helping the guy. He could have been doing this since 2002. The case that we know of was in 2008. Come on, this is all not making sense. Here's why, and I want to get to what I believe the real tie here is, and this is the Nexium case. I never wanted to get into this, but we're gonna do it. So the Nexium case, obviously, if people haven't followed, this involves a gentleman by the name of Keith Raniere. Keith Raniere was a business owner and was found guilty of multiple sex crimes, sex charges, sex trafficking, branding even of his owned property. And his property would be sold. And when he would sell his property, when I say property, I mean people. When he would sell these people, I mean females and males, by the way. But when he would do this, it was international. He wasn't doing this to people right here, you know, in town. You know, he wasn't just like, hey, neighbor, hey, you need a person or what? No. He was selling these people intentionally for sex. He was making a whole sex cult. There was a whole situation with Allison Mack, who was also implicated in the Nexium case. There was multiple cases of sex trafficking. As of April of 2019, 5 people associated with Nexium, Allison Mack and co-founder Nancy Salzman and Lauren Salzman, who are, just in case you're not aware, those are the heiresses to the Seagram's fortune. So anyone that drinks gin, vodka from Seagram's, Seagram's 7, I know is a very large favorite in my area, but Seagram's, the liquor, the stuff you drink that gets you, that stuff is paying these girls, by the way, these 2 females, Nancy Salzman and Lauren Salzman, they've been trafficking kids off your cash. So we also have Claire Bronfman, Bronfman. She was the bookkeeper, along with Kathy Russell, who have also pled guilty to various charges. These are federal crimes that they were pleading guilty to. A lot of these people did get caught. The whole Nexium case is bad. They are currently in prison. Keith Raniere did plead guilty. He is in trouble. There's a lot wrong with what Keith Raniere did. However, we need to remember he was moving females, moving people around the world. How did he logistically do it? It goes back to Epstein. Who has a plane? Who has an island? Who has a location where you can possibly keep a whole bunch of people and no one would know? Epstein has that. And he has unlimited funds. Hold on. Unlimited funds backed by the royal government and the government of Israel. This is starting to get juicy. But if he died, then we have to also think maybe he's under real protection. Okay? Like, not to divulge too far into other cases that have nothing to do with Epstein, but just to give an example. We have a rapper that we all know. We've all heard about the Tekashi 6ix9ine case That is very clear. It's a murder case. It's a gun case. It doesn't really have a lot to do with child trafficking. But we have someone that's willing to talk, and they are openly saying protective custody. We're going to make sure that nothing happens to Mr. 6'9", and they use his name, which I totally don't care about because I don't care about his name. But seriously, we have someone who's implicating federal crimes, implicating other people, and by him being involved, it's making other people go to prison. Yeah, you're probably going to make sure that he makes it to court. And they're doing that with Tekashi 6'9", a kid that has tattoos on his face of the number 6'9". Not a smart kid, but he's alive. The federal court system is making sure that he's alive to make it to court. This is where things get funky. The New York court system is very simple. There's a system where they do an arraignment. They get you to a judge. From that point, you are then going to await till trial. In this case, he's obviously going to go to trial. We have to get Epstein in trial. Due process, right? Everyone has due process. We don't want to just say, hey, look, we know you're guilty. Let's go shoot you outside. No, we were following the process. But we didn't state how much protection he might need. Let's think about that. We have an Israeli government with possible Israeli spies that will kill you, and the UK government, MI5, Interpol, international child trafficking crimes attached to Interpol. I think people forget what that is. The Interpol is an international group that encompasses multiple countries all around the world, and they monitor different crimes that happen on an international basis. If Epstein is possibly implicated here, and let's say someone knew and someone gave him the green light, and someone in Interpol is part of this, then we have a problem. You see what I'm saying? And again, this is something that happened before. We knew that he had that thing in Florida. He had someone already linked up. He had a whole bunch of money, and he gets a good deal. Why? He had a whole bunch of money. That's why. The people charged for less are doing more time than him. Okay? The person who gave out the data in the first place did years in prison. Didn't get to go outside at all. Got his 1 hour a day, maybe 2 square meals a day, and had to work for free. Remember, prison is legal slavery. But let's go ahead and go a little further here, because the Nexium case is obviously logistically going to be tied to Epstein. Somehow, logistics are going on to where this Nexium thing had people being trafficked. We knew that there was someone had to be heading that. So if Epstein was heading that, and we knew now the countries implicated, Israel, UK for sure, we're not talking about other countries. We're not talking about how vast this could be. New York Daily News article. There's been a writer with the New York Daily News. This is going to be Stephen Rex Brown. They've actually been covering this since the beginning in 2008, and they've been covering this case since. So I feel their documentation is somewhat okay to follow. For those who just like, I don't trust media. I don't blame you. I'm not telling you to trust me. I'm just telling you what I'm finding when I look just for a moment. The former New Mexico Senator Bill Richardson, former Senator Majority Leader George Mitchell, Democrat from Maine, is also involved here. Richardson, as a spokesman, also alleges that there was allegations of interference, that the case was deemed completely false in 2008. That's when this Madeline Mahoney, and a lot of these female names people aren't talking about, but it's weird how they keep popping up. Madeline Mahoney pops up, and she states, to be cleared, in Governor Richardson's limited interaction with Mr. Epstein, he never saw him in presence of young underage girls. Governor Richardson has never been to Epstein's residence in the Virgin Islands. Governor Richardson has never met Miss Gouffier. And what we're going to do now is we're going to find out what that allegation means. So this guy Mitchell denies being in any way linked to Gouffier. Okay, so let's find out. Miss Gouffier. Contact with Miss Gouffier. Okay, let's find out who that is. So I did something very basic. I was like, who is this? Because we all have heard of this Ghislaine Maxwell, you know, and we were like, well, Ghislaine Maxwell is that's the kingpin. That's the girl who made this all work. No, you needed someone on the inside. You needed someone in the government portion of it. You needed someone a little deeper, that had a little more ties, a little more handle on the business, if you know what I'm saying. So this accuser, Virginia Gouffier, Gouffier, she has data that confirms all of these allegations. I mean, her data is pretty clear that the prime minister's involved, American politicians are involved, business owners. There were actually other pieces of media involved. These are leaders of NBC, ABC News. Mahoney also spoke with the Daily Beast about Governor Richardson's actions, and the allegations contained in the release document are false, end quote, Mitchell said in a statement. I have never met or spoken with any or had any contact with Ms. Gouffier. In my contact with Mr. Epstein, I never observed any suspicious or inappropriate conduct with underage girls. I only learned of his actions when they were reported in the media related to the prosecution in Florida. We had no further contact. That's a lie. We know that's a lie. There are pages, documentations. We have Mitchell involved. We have multiple pieces of the government involved here. We have people who would have easily been able to cover this up. Trump's not the only person implicated that could easily cover this up. From a governmental end, let's think about it. The president has power. So if he wanted to cover up anything too, he could have easily made that happen. Why would he kill Epstein? Don't kill him. Remove him from the equation. But why would we tell everyone he's dead? Because people would stop looking. It would be the closure that the nation needed. And it's the easy closure. What happens sometimes when you think about violence and you think about something where someone dies, who's implicated in doing something terrible, what we do as humans is unique. A lot of us feel for them or want to have remorse. Now, what they're buying on and what they really want, and why I think this is obviously a ploy, it's easier for you to believe he's dead. The story to believe what he really did, how bad it is, the visions, I mean, imagine the trauma the FBI agents are going through. We're going through all the millions of pages of documents, videos, things that someone has to sit there and watch. And maybe in their own unique, terrible way, our government again wants to save the national public psyche by making sure we don't see that. I understand that's plausible. I understand that everything I'm saying today might actually be false. He was never confirmed of any of this in court. None of this has actually been something where a judge confirms what I'm saying is true. We still have plausible deniability on everything. The sad truth is, this is still going on. You know, with a lot of these atrocities that we've seen, and some of them that we've heard about recently. Here in San Antonio, we recently had a case where, you know, luckily the child was saved. You know, there was a child trafficking ring in the San Antonio area. The child was found to have been picked up from a completely different part of town, you know, transported to a location. At that location, they were going to do the trade-off. From the trade-off, the kid was going to go somewhere. Like, the whole system was in motion as they cracked it. So they cracked the case. Luckily, they did find the kid. He is fine, or she, that child is fine. I don't want to focus too much there, but it's true. It's happening. It's here. CPS is being implicated in a lot of this. So there was a recent article that I was given that goes way deeper into a lot of how this is still active. And ultimately, we're here. We just want to put a voice on it. If we can put more light on this, we will. Any new cases we do follow. If they're local to us, we do investigate those, and we try to do as much research and due diligence as we can. I may be doing a new CPS case soon. Very heavy stuff, but it really goes into what we're talking about, because ultimately we don't want this to continue. Our kids we should cherish, and we should really have more of a tying moment together at this point. We need to come together and make sure that we're taking care of each other. If we ever see a kid in danger, see something, say something. If you see that, there's a kid locked in a car right now. We've had 100-degree days. Save the kids from the heat. There's a lot of different things you can do to help. Definitely look in your area and you'll find out more. So from the new Wrinkle on the Brain group, well, we are so happy for our listeners and our watchers. Go ahead, like, share, subscribe, comment. If you guys have something to say, what do you guys think about the Epstein case? Where do you think this went? How do you think this is going now? Maybe you have something to say. Thank you guys to the viewers, and from the new Wrinkle on the Brain group, until the next one, guys.